anxiety, some of the issues, energy, the economy, the wars, we can't say for certain, well, in 6 months it'll be better. We don't know that. And so it's kind of an anxious time for those of you who are graduating and then taking that next step into adulthood and adult responsibilities. And let's just acknowledge that. And oftentimes, graduation speeches and times can be a time of platitudes and it's all sweetness and light. But hey, let's just acknowledge a reality. The world that you're walking into has got some challenges to it right now. Our state, our country, our world has got some challenges. But I want to tell you that one of the things that is best about you, graduates, young people, and that we adults count on in you is your optimism and sense of hopefulness. My mother taught me something when I was a youngster that I didn't fully appreciate really until much, much later. That I kind of harken back on now as I'm facing challenges, as I face challenges in, my work, political life, family. My mom told me that if you want to be right in life, be a pessimist. If you want to do right in life, be an optimist. And I didn't really fully grasp that, but I've come to understand it a lot better as I've grown older and had some experience. If you are a pessimist, if you think the worst is going to happen and you're always looking on the negative side, I'll tell you, you'll often be right in life. You will often be right. People might disappoint you. Things won't work out the way that you think that they will. There will be disappointments and tribulations and challenges that will come into everybody's life. And so you can often say, hey, see, I was right. If you're the kind of person that likes to say, I told you so, you'll have chances to say, I told you so. But what I've noticed in my 50 years and working in a lot of different places is, if you would rather do right, if you'd rather not let events change you, but you change events and make things happen, and change people's lives and do things that you will feel proud of for the rest of your life, then you should be an optimist. If you're hopeful and positive, you'll find that things will work out better than others, and that people will try to live up to your higher expectations, and that you'll be happy. And it's the doers of the world that make things happen for the good, and it's optimists who are doers. And I'll tell you that even with some anxieties that I see out there, I think there's a lot of reasons for optimism right now. There are a lot of things that you ought to look at in the world and say, I can be optimistic about that. Let me just give you a couple of examples. These are some things that are just very current right now. A month ago, I was asked to give a speech that I do annually to Virginia volunteers, give awards to great volunteers in the country. And in preparation for that speech, my staff, I've got some great staff members here, Lauren and Hayes, my staff did a little bit of research, and they gave me some facts and figures about volunteerism in Virginia. And I found one thing really interesting, which is volunteerism, like everything else, gets measured these days. So we know how many hours Virginians volunteer. We compare it to national averages or other states, and how much money people give, and we can compare that with other states. There's one area of volunteerism where Virginia leads the nation. By far away, but only one. But that one is our college students, college-age students, do more volunteer work than students of similar age in any other state in America. Now, that is a reason to feel hopeful and optimistic. Not only does that mean that you in your generation have a sense of kind of that Good Samaritan principle, trying to help others, but it also means, I think, when that habit starts young, it stays the rest of life. I think once people get that into their spirit, that volunteering and helping others is something that is good for society, and it makes me feel good too, that will stay as a habit through the rest of their life. So that makes me feel optimistic. It ought to make you feel optimistic too. Second, let's just talk for a minute about what's going on in this nation in the presidential election. Young people in both parties or either party have been registering and voting in record numbers this year in the presidential race. In record numbers in every state. In every state. That makes me feel optimistic. Young people deciding that they want to be engaged and take part in making the decisions that are going to affect them. Often young people don't vote the way they should. Hey, frankly, all ages don't vote the way they should. But we're seeing young people double and triple the number of registrants and voters under age 30, for example, participating in the presidential election from any election before. In Virginia, just as an example, we had 40,000 new voters register, new voters, first-time voters, before the last presidential race in 2004. This year, so far, well over 100,000 new voters have registered, and we still got 6 months to go before the election. And about 40% of the voters who've registered